In a long-awaited moment, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announced his candidacy for President of the United States in a Twitter space with Tesla and Twitter CEO Elon Musk on Wednesday, May 24th. Musk, one of the world's richest men, has said in the past that he would support DeSantis for president if he ran in 2024, although he now says that he won't be endorsing anyone for president this cycle. While former President Donald Trump remains the party's philosophical leader up to this point in time, DeSantis is the only other Republican political figure receiving as much public interest and attention as the former president. DeSantis is currently serving his second term as governor of Florida and previously served 3 terms in the U.S. House. While he defeated his Democratic opponent by less than half a percentage point in 2018, DeSantis dominated his campaign for re-election in 2022, winning by 19.4%, the largest for a Republican gubernatorial candidate since 1968, and outperforming Trump's margin by more than 15%. DeSantis has successfully championed various conservative policies in Florida, which some of his supporters have begun to deem as DeSantis land. At the time of his announcement, DeSantis trails Trump in endorsements from important political figures by a wide margin, and it will be critical for him to close that gap in the weeks following his campaign announcement. He has polled as high as 34% in the GOP primary this spring, but his numbers have dropped significantly, and as of late May 2023, DeSantis trails Trump by a 58 to 20% margin according to Morning Consult's weekly Republican primary tracking poll. Now, in case you missed it, Decision Desk HQ's Zachary Danini released an article breaking down GOP primary voters into 5 groups in detail. In this video, we will be examining DeSantis' Republican primary prospects based on these 5 groups. So do be sure to go read over that article, which you can check out at DecisionDeskHQ.com, and will be the very first link in the description down below. Beginning with DeSantis' electoral coalition's strengths, the new guard of Republican primary voters, dubbed the populist right, is primarily seeking a culture war fighter to take on the quote-unquote woke left. DeSantis has proven throughout his tenure as governor of Florida to be exactly that. He has routinely made national headlines following policy proposals and initiatives relating to highly polarizing cultural and social issues, such as the Parental Rights and Education Bill, which left-wing critics have deemed as the Don't Say Gay bill, and his migrant relocation initiative. More recently, his feud with Disney has received more attention, which DeSantis certainly expects will help him with these populist right voters. As for the old guard within the Republican Party, Reagan Republicans tend to hold conservative views while being skeptical of Trump and Trumpism. These voters have the potential to back DeSantis in droves, largely because he is Trump's main competitor for the 2024 GOP nomination. These voters also tend to be more educated than any other group we've identified, and many believe that DeSantis will be the candidate of educated right-wingers choosing, given that he has polled far better among Republicans with college degrees than those without, and he himself attended Yale and then Harvard University. That said, DeSantis will have to cement his status ahead of the rest of the field outside of Trump, or risk losing these voters to other competitors such as Tim Scott and Nikki Haley. Moving on, DeSantis is not a social moderate. In fact, his stances on some policies, such as abortion, are more conservative than Trump's. However, many of these social moderate voters are so unhappy with the aftermath of the 2020 election, including the January 6th Capitol riot, that they are likely to back whoever is the most viable alternative to Trump. And at least for right now, DeSantis is clearly the most realistic option. That being said, DeSantis will have to figure out how to turn anti-Trump moderates out in large numbers, given that he has made his name as a culturally conservative firebrand. As for his weaknesses, of course, the only Trump portion of Republican primary voters are highly unlikely to back his chief competition. While Trump has not yet begun to launch personal attacks on many of his competitors for the 2024 Republican nomination, he has already begun to criticize DeSantis. They once enjoyed a shaky alliance as Trump helped DeSantis win the GOP nomination for the Florida gubernatorial primary in 2018. However, those days are long gone, with them now the two main contenders for the nomination. Finally, analysts expect that Trump and DeSantis will open up a large gap between higher and lower educational attainment groups of voters in 2024. And given that evangelical voters graduate college at a lower rate than the national average, DeSantis could struggle to court them into his camp. Even worse for DeSantis, Tim Scott, who is rapidly gaining traction in the GOP establishment, is making a significant play for evangelical voters. Looking ahead, DeSantis will look to resurrect the strength he displayed in polling from earlier this year, where he even led Trump in several head-to-head polls. The governor does have a strong fundraising record, having raised over $200 million for his re-election campaign in 2022, the most for a gubernatorial candidate in American history. It has also now been reported that he raised $8.2 million in the first 24 hours following his announcement, surpassing Joe Biden's $6.3 million on the first day of his 2020 campaign launch, and outpacing Trump's $9.5 million that he raised in the first 6 months of his 2024 campaign. The challenge for DeSantis, of course, will be to navigate the crowded primary field to clearly establish himself as the only viable alternative to Trump. As polls have shown time and time again, that the larger the field, the better the odds for the former president. That is the Decision Desk HQ preview of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' primary campaign. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to click that like button down below if you did indeed like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also check out more content from our channel here, and we'll see you next time.